What is going on, everybody? Welcome back in. Today I'm going to be reviewing all of the entries that I took in the last 2 days to be able to encapsulate and take advantage of this insane bull run that we had this week, man. It's crazy, right? Now, this craziness is amazing, especially if you're ready and, willing to get in there and take advantage, right? Utilize my model. Obviously, there's a ridiculous amount of opportunities, man. All right. So, rule number one right off the bat, before I even review my trades, the sole basis of most of them was knowing, number one, how the market actually operates through experience, the 6 years that I've been here. And number two, just knowing how to trade all-time highs. I've been here before. I've done it in 2023. I've done it in 2024, 2025, you name it. The number one rule that is going to save you in all-time high trading is not trying to be the hero and picking the top. The trend is indeed your friend if you have an actual edge in the market and you can apply it consistently, okay? So do not try to pick the top. Stay in sync with that higher time frame order flow and trend, which obviously this week it was bullish, and that's exactly what I did. I stayed in sync with it, okay? So first things first, okay. The model number 3 that I took down here to be able to ride it the whole way up. And then secondly, another long that I took live on stream, okay, to then ride it back up to all-time highs again and milk it out even more. I'm going to go ahead and drop the clips right here for a brief moment, okay, so you guys can see it all. W's in the chat. Look at this, guys. Beautiful trade. All right, so first things first, okay, playing off of finally this nice manipulation that we got Thursday, April 16th, okay? It actually took me 3 attempts here today to actually capture longs, and that's just how it goes sometimes, okay? You can never expect to get it on the first attempt, okay? But if you hold your conviction and you're a great risk manager, you're going to get paid in the end anyway, okay? You know, when you start flipping your bias and like going off the system and just revenge trading, that's when you get yourself into trouble. But again, if you're actually exercising and trading the system and not taking some emotionally charged trades, you're going to be able to stay calm, hold your conviction, and be able to milk it out, okay? So trade number 1 was basically playing, like, just to keep it short and simple, this was playing this continuation here. We had a really nice impulse leg to the upside, leaving behind a 15-minute high volume gap in price. That was after we had our 9:30 manipulation to the downside. That actually drove us below all the overnight lows here, right, and delivered this 4-hour gap, which is this blue area. So once we got this, again, I'm looking to capture all-time highs, right? So when we got that tap into that 15-minute gap, that is whenever I was longing, right? I alerted this to the team. Okay, this was my actual confirmation entry when we drove down, swept out a key low inside of a gap. That's the sole basis of Model 4, right? I'm knowing this is a high quality reaccumulation of longs. Okay, I did get a 30-second entry, but a nice confirmation was also us completely inversing this 1-minute gap. Okay, so I got my entry in there. Basically wrote it out for like 70 points, took my partials, and then the rest just got completely smacked. And trailed out around break even with this large drop down, okay? So little W there. Second, okay, we got another obviously nice manipulation to the downside. We redelivered that 15-minute fair value gap. No indication whatsoever that it's bearish at all. We're still in a bullish market, okay? This is the intermittent term low. Here's that higher low, and boom. This was my second attempt long, okay? My model performed. We had a light ball displacement to the upside with that 1 p.m. PO3 logic, okay? I took my entry here, and it ended up in a break even, okay? Honestly, the delivery was looking awesome live time, and I would have been an absolute idiot not to take this trade, even looking at it on hindsight and seeing it didn't pan out. Here's my entry. We rose up nicely in profit, okay? Hit this bearish gap to the left, and that's whenever I was able to move my stop to break even and try to let it ride out, and then boom, giant fart, and then it knocks me out, okay? And that's fine. I'm like, all right. To me, honestly, I was pretty good about it live time. I'm like, look, man, honestly, to me, that's looking like it's just going to rev up an even better discount for me and offer me a better opportunity, okay? Now, I didn't think it was going to be in the same day, but here it was. We drove down once again. Take a look at what we delivered. We delivered 60% optimal trade entry of the range that was established in the previous session. That's New York session. Okay, so drove down to do a nice discount, still respecting bullish order flow. For example, we hit this order block here to the left, and we also hit this 15-minute gap. Okay, caught outside the lines a little bit, but ultimately started running back up off of that. Okay, then we go down to the 5-minute chart. As you can see here, we actually came down and ran out key AM session sell stops. So my logic here was, okay, they're running out, and right, these are some of the best PM Model 3s you'll get, is when they come down and run out some form of AM session sell stops and then give you that time-based expansion. So the fact that we came down here, swept this swing low, delivered a nice discount, right, respecting higher time frame levels, etc., and then we got a 2 p.m. light bulb expansion, right? That is how I knew. I was like, look, man, I'm going to have to take my third attempt here. I mean, I just can't. I can't pass this up. You know what I mean? So intraday, right, my stop loss was here. My take profit was above this high right here. Now, the reason why my take profit was above this high here is because it's a time-based old buy-side liquidity pool left behind. Now, obviously, in and of itself, it's a clean double top. I like to target those. This was a key lunch high. So if you look from 12 to 1 p.m., right, these are the highs that we generated inside of that. We left it, okay, swept out the lunch lows right here, right? So I deem this as a very high quality target intraday, right? Outside of my target of all-time highs. Okay, so this right here, I mean, you just look at it, it's super light bulb, right? It's very, very light bulb. It's not an overcomplicated thing. We're delivering key levels. We had a nice discount put in. We're below 50% of this price swing, right? Respecting higher time frame key levels. I'm still in sync with bullish order flow market structure. So therefore, I'm going to do what? Look to apply model number 3 and 4 to the upside. That is how I'm going to get paid. Not trying to fight the trend, not trying to be the hero picking the top, as I said in the beginning of the video. All right, so this is your classic textbook light bulb phenomenon. If you're watching the charts live time, okay, and you've been with me for at least 3 months, I would say that I would have expected you to at least identify it. I'm not saying you had to make money on it and get it right every single time, but if you watch this live time and you didn't feel a light bulb phenomenon, chances are you just haven't seen this model perform enough, because this is really as light bulb as it gets. Okay, so right here is when your 2 p.m. opens. Okay, now this 2 p.m. opening is so significant because look what we did to the left. Okay, if you ever see an accumulation like this prior to an hourly candle opening, that's when you're going to have your highest anticipation of a nice probable model number 3, right? So we had this nice large consolidation, which is accumulation of orders, and then we opened up at 2 p.m. Then we create the manipulation phase. What does manipulation do? Takes us out of the accumulation, drives us down into key levels like the key AM sell stops. Okay. Also, for your own study, you can also incorporate this time-based gap. This was actually a really nice confluence for this trade, so you can look at that on your own. All right, and then anyway, after the manipulation is done, you hit that key level. Once you get that light bulb expansion, that's when you're playing the distribution back to the upside. Now, this one was a tad bit complicated because the market literally closed right here. Okay, so it's still left 415. I mean, a good 80 points on the table to take profit. I mean, you could have taken profit at this internal swing high too, right? I mean, still pretty good for an intraday trade. However, when you're in a ridiculously trending market, I always teach my students and everyone that learns from me to always hold a runner if you can when you're in a really trending market. It's not guaranteed that they'll hit every time, right? My runner very well could have, gotten knocked out, and then I would have had to realign myself the next day. But it didn't. I let my runner run, and I got rewarded for letting it run, okay? And again, anytime you take a trade in really, really trending markets, you want to do your best of your ability to milk it out, let your runners run, if you can, okay? It's not required, but it's a very good way to milk out your winners and make them count, okay? So very nice accumulation, manipulation, distribution play. This is in sync with my model number 3. And it just goes to show that, again, you're not going to get it perfect every day, but you're going to be massively profitable if you just trade the system, and that's it. Trade the system. Don't trade P&L. Don't trade emotions. That is how you're going to align yourself with the profitable version of yourself, okay? Boom. So that's it on there. All right, now we're closing this video out here, reviewing the trade that I absolutely smashed live on stream in front of 40 or so eyes. We took this live on stream. I mean, it was just as 4K as it can get, okay? Same exact logic applied to this trade. What are we aiming for? All-time highs. It's a really, really high quality buy-side liquidity pool with large funds, large institutions, a lot of money up there, okay? Simple as that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to keep aligning myself with the higher time frame market structure and order flow until I am proven otherwise. Simple as that. So what am I looking for here today? Longs. Why? Because we haven't yet reached the all-time high yet, right? We still have that draw intact, and we're still respecting bullish market structure and order flow. Simple as that. So what I was seeing on this higher time frame is the fact that we created a long-term low here off this gap, right? Still respecting bullish gaps and blasting through opposing bearish levels. Then we had a intermittent term low form here with London. Okay, so London drove down, created the swing low, higher swing low to the right. Okay, so we're still putting in bullish market structure leading into the New York session. And then we get this huge pump. This is when things get interesting. I now saw us retrace into the 30-minute gap here. Okay, or 15-minute, didn't matter which one you used, but we retraced into this 30-minute gap with a nice 930 manipulation to the downside, right? For all the gurus trying to pick the top, right? They're suckering them in there. And I knew that, and I wanted to utilize that to my advantage. So let's drop down and let's take a look. All right, so high time frame key level I was utilizing once again that 30-minute gap. All right, now here was all the logic that I laid out live time. Now, was this a high resistance profile? Yes, but you're not going to get low resistance every single time. You're going to have to hold through high resistance delivery and sometimes even scam wicks like this. That's why you cannot suffocate your trade to death, and you have to manage it just as I did live on stream. And I'll post a recording on WAP for you guys to watch that at a later time. Now, if you switch over to NASDAQ, okay, you'll see like the wicks weren't as harsh on those scam wicks. Okay, just be aware of that. Okay, sometimes MNQ gets a little bit exaggerating. Okay, like obviously right here, and it's just nothing but a scam wick. That's what we call it, right? All right, so now here's when things get good. Here's your 930 opening. We had a classic manipulation below the opening price. Now, let's pull out the indicator. All right, what are all the things that I can check off here? Well, number one, we do have a high time frame key level. I already overviewed that. We do have a clear draw on liquidity. I already established that as well. Those are already checked off. Now we have a manipulation below this 930 opening, which is very key and crucial. Okay, that's your classic Judah swing, right? Now I can check that off. Classic manipulation, right? The question is now, do we have a timing element to apply here? Well, this rally, okay, so this is my no trading zone, and I explained this live on stream. None of this mattered to me except for the manipulation that was taking place. This is my no trading zone from 9:15 to 9:45. But once we exit that, that's a different story. We drove down one more time outside of the no trading zone, delivered that 30-minute gap again, and delivered this old low, and showed an inability to have a sustained run and immediately snap back up. Now, this rally is 1,000 times more significant in what I entered on than this right here because of the timing element, okay? Before I go further, take a look at what ES did. Drove down one more time below the 930 opening price and swept that low inside of that high time frame gap. Obviously, that's going to give you an SMT divergence in the market, which was another nice added confluence, okay? Now, what I was looking at here, all right, I knew it was high resistance, so I had to utilize something to work with, okay? This gap was an inversion fair value gap, okay? Now, there's two reasons why I entered where I did. Number one, we completely closed above and inversed this 2-minute gap that created the manipulation to the downside. So we're immediately disrespecting key bearish levels after delivering that high time frame key level, right? And it's a time-based rally. I was also looking at the 15-second chart. Okay, yes, the 15-second. And I saw this series of multiple gaps, again, from this time-based expansion. So this right here collectively was my entry, right at 26,724, somewhere around there. Now, this rally right here, it did not take place right at 10 a.m. Typically, I like to utilize the exact hourly candle opening prices in the rallies that happen after, but sometimes it happens a little early, and that's when I pull out the classic macro. Okay, this box that I'm mapping out here, this encapsulates your 950 to 1010 macro, surrounding that 10 a.m. hourly candle opening, right? So what we're looking at is, again, this is a time-based entry. Number one, it's outside of the no trading zone, and number two, it happened right at 9:50 a.m. Okay, and again, I understand that sometimes it kicks things off early, and that is when I'll utilize that macro range. Boom, beautiful, right? Now, can I actually check this box off though? The answer is yes, because right here, we did have an accumulation. We did have a manipulation below the 930 opening, putting in the SMT, and then I played the distribution phase. So we did have an hourly PO3 time element. Clear change of state delivery. Okay, I didn't particularly have this because it was just a lot of wicks. Okay, and I did say this live time. This is the only thing that I can hold against this trade. Okay, there was no clear change of state, and there was a good bit of wicks with the high resistance. So I cannot check off that box. Light bulb displacement is a yes. Okay, because we're inversing that gap. And again, on the 30-second, 15-second chart, to keep it fair, because I will say about 99% of my entries are in the 1 minute. Let's just say I didn't even look at the second chart. I probably wouldn't even mark that off, right? It kind of depends on which time frame you're using. But again, you have to sift through the 5 to the 15-second chart to find your entries, okay? So let's just say it's right here. We have the 4 core elements checked off to this trade setup. These are the 4 most important. These 2 boxes here are secondary. As long as you have these 4, though, you have the core, really important elements to a trade, okay? So this trade, we are going to rate an A-, okay? An A- because we have a few boxes we technically couldn't have checked off. Now, with my second chart, I was checking that off, but the point is, this is the A- version of my model with high resistance, okay? And again, we were targeting all-time high, and this ended up being a 100-point banger. Okay, so my fill was right on here on that 15-second gap. My target was right here for 104 points with my stop loss down here at the low, right? Why was my stop loss down here at the low? Because this is a protected low that was put in outside of the no trading zone at an SMT divergence and at a key level. So I was comfortable having my stop loss below there. If it invalidated that, manipulated again lower, well, guess what? I just would have had to have taken a second attempt and then look to encapsulate it again. Okay, so this is all the nuts and bolts behind everything that I did in the last 48 hours to make over $6,000, which is crazy. I'm very, very grateful for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review, got some value out of this. If you did, shoot me a message, please, because I really want to know that you guys are getting value out of this. Okay, so yeah, in closing, guys, God bless you. Peace.